Hello from my side as well. I'm Ralf Brand. I'm a colleague of Silke from Rupprecht Consulting Cologne. What technical support partners can do for you. So there are two bits. Oh, the clicker. Thank you. First of all, you should know who are technical support partners. I will talk about this briefly. And then the second part of the sentence, what they can do for you. I think it's important to mention the entire Switch team, the whole consortium. We're trying to make the follower city's life as easy as possible by providing two kinds of support, I would say. One is information. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are a number of elements to that. And the other component is some more personalized support. The first part, just information, we thought some of you might have very similar questions, some basic questions which we don't need to respond to individually. So the fact sheets, for example, which were handed out before, this is one of these components, just basic information that might make your life easier when you talk to stakeholders, when you try to recruit schools or other multipliers locally. We are working on a so-called toolbox, and another handout you had is kind of the first bit towards that, a reader. The toolbox will contain concise information about the various steps along the whole Switch phasing stepwise approach. And what might be most valuable for you, we hope at least, is a voluminous appendix with all kinds of templates that allow you to easily customize it to your own situation, like a template for a postcard to recruit participants, a questionnaire that might help you to conduct the baseline survey and the follow-up survey, so you don't have to invent the questions. And if you adopt this questionnaire, then we would actually achieve a certain comparability across follower cities when we meet again, when we have further conversations. We will produce webinars, 3 webinars. The first one will be on the health components. There will be 2 more, and we would actually like your comments, your feedback to us. Please talk to us what you think might be most valuable for you, where your burning questions are, and then we will try to respond to that and produce these webinars accordingly. You've noticed that we take video footage of this event and of another event in the future. The idea is to provide these videos on the website. Obviously, if you're already participating here, you might not need to review that. Of course, you're welcome to do that. But we're also trying to reach an even wider audience beyond the follower cities. And well, our ambition is to reach as many cities in Europe as possible. And then there's, I don't follow this sequence, I'm sorry. I follow the one I have on my paper. But something I wanted to mention is the idea of an e-learning component, which will provide a lot of information that is also in the toolbox, etc., but in a more interactive, more accessible, more approachable, more convenient channel. We're working on this, and over the summer, in this e-learning activity, which is just an online forum with easy registration, access, and so forth, we will also integrate a communication platform, because we thought you should not work in isolation in your own city. We should find ways to facilitate the communication among yourself, among the follower cities, but also with the technical support partners, which I will introduce in a minute, and the cities, the implementation cities, Gdansk, San Sebastian, Antwerp, Vienna, and what's the last one? London, Hounslow, of course, yeah. So we want to establish some kind of community so you feel part of the Switch family. And this is a way how we hope to achieve that. Another option, at least, under the rubric what the Switch team can do for you, it's really an option, is placements. So if you think you would benefit from visiting one of the advanced or the Switch implementation cities, we could arrange that. We have to talk about the funding aspects of that because the Switch project doesn't have a budget for that. But at least there's the willingness, the declared willingness to support you in that way as well. The whole idea of the mentoring is part of the Switch project. And when we talk about mentoring, there's a mentee and a mentor. And for that, this is now when I finally come to introduce the technical support partners. You already saw some of the representatives from the implementation cities, but the Switch consortium consists of more organizations. And I'll just go through these organizations briefly. The whole project is coordinated by BOKU, the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna. So just so you see their faces again, Regina Gericke, you've already seen, Wiebke Unbehan as well, and there is Marlene as well. So these are representatives from this organization. Maybe a buzzword about their main expertise, because you might want to know who do I talk to with which kind of problem or with which kind of challenge. This whole personalized travel planning is very high on their agenda. Evaluation methods that they're particularly strong at. And they are the main partner for the Vienna, the city implementation as well. Another organization, Intelligent Health. And you've already heard Veronica here. And you have a feeling, I think, what they're doing, what they're good at, what they have been done for years. So this whole health IT company, that's what they call themselves. The combination of technology, behavior change approaches. Yes, you can read that here. The next one, the National Institute of Public Health of the Republic of Slovenia, Janet, you've already heard. Is there anything I need to highlight here? It's essentially a government agency, right? Yes, I guess that's what you need to know primarily. But talk to her if you want to know more. But she is one of the, with Veronica, maybe the main health experts in the Switch team. Next one, the European Cyclists Federation. Randy has already raised his voice, Benedict as well. It's essentially, I think it's fair to say, a lobby organization to some degree. Oh yeah. To give a voice to the cycling, pro-cycling community at the international, European and international level. And you also provide advice. It says on your self-description, you are there to provide advice, not just in the Switch team, but more generally speaking. Okay, our cycling experts. The next organization, Walk 21. Who would guess what they stand for? A representative in the back there, Jim, with the very appropriate name Walker. We have 3 more organizations to go. 3 more organizations that are part of the Switch consortium. We have European Integrated Project, EIP, and the person, maybe you could stand up, Lucia is one of them, supported by Laurie and Desmond. I think they describe themselves as a consultancy support organization for city authorities, operators, and the private sector. You're mainly in charge within the Switch project to make sure that the evaluation process is conducted thoroughly, rigorously, and they can help you with that aspect in a Switch campaign, because it's very important to actually demonstrate the effects of it. Also for internal communication, obviously, it's important to show that it works. Then we have Polis, and Thomas is here from Polis in Belgium, an organization, a network of European cities, a city network, cities that share the ambition to use innovative approaches to mobility, urban mobility, and they lead the dissemination work package within the Switch project. Last but not least, our own organization, Rupprecht Consult in Cologne. We do a lot of European projects, always in the wider arena of mobility, or mostly urban mobility. So there's Silke and myself. So this crew of, we call ourselves technical support partners, not a very elegant name. TSPs might slip over our tongue from time to time. So these TSPs will be your main supporters from now on in various forms. The way this mentoring, this teaming up matchmaking exercise we will do just now in a few minutes, because you, when I say you, I mean follower cities, you should have an address, a name, a telephone number of a few key people where you know they will respond to me. If I have a question, I can ring them. In all instances, we're happy to channel that communication, Silke and I, through us. So we can then, some basic questions that are shared, and we will collect and identify what are shared problems and shared questions. Then we can respond, for example, by designing the next webinar on that issue, or maybe create a new fact sheet or something like that. And then obviously we can also help you to channel your questions further to our experts, these technical support partners. And do you want to? Timeline? Timeline, yes, that's a good. So just a brief overview. Over the next few months, obviously towards the end, the whole purpose of it all, why we do this, is ideally to launch Switch campaigns in your own city. We can't oblige you to do that, so there's no legally binding agreement, but what we really would like to do is get you thinking, get you on the path towards an actual implementation, and we call the key step towards that an implementation scenario. What we would like to have from the follower cities at some point is an implementation scenario, literally a document, a short document, where you articulate your own thoughts along the predefined phases of a Switch campaign. So how would I do this? What would be a good season in my city? What would be an appropriate target group in my city? All these questions, so that you start to think systematically through these questions. So we're here now in Gdansk. We will organize a webinar in early summer on the health aspects of Switch campaigns. And what we said here in September could be the 15th. We're not in a school here, so if you submit something on the 16th, that's fine as well. But around September, we would really like to have a draft, kind of a homework from you of such an implementation scenario. And the idea is not to control you, whether you did your homework, but it's really to have an opportunity to communicate with you, to provide feedback. We will review that. We will allocate your draft implementation scenario to one of the technical support partners, and they will comment on that in order to allow you in the next phase then over the winter to refine the design of your campaign. And so then you're ready to roll and implement in 2016. So we will review, as we said, we will hold a second webinar in February. We hope to get a final version of your implementation scenario. We'll hold another webinar. By then we will know what the burning questions are that you have in your practical, on the ground reality. And in March there will be another training workshop about the lessons learned until that point.